You are sitting alone in a quiet room, and a heavy, suffocating tightness settles right in the center of your chest. Because there is no one else around, the mind reaches for the nearest, easiest label for that physical pressure. It calls the feeling loneliness. Once we name it loneliness, a cultural instinct kicks in. We assume the only way to fix an empty room is to fill it with people, and we immediately start looking for social contact to make the ache go away. However, applying company to an ache that has a different cause is like taking the wrong medication for a symptom. The pain remains because the source hasn't been addressed. What we call loneliness often has three highly convincing impostors. We can use a series of parables to run a differential diagnosis on ourselves, helping us identify exactly what kind of medicine we actually need. The first story is about a little blue sailboat. It spends its days gliding across a glass-like sea, working incredibly hard to leave absolutely no wake, pretending to be perfectly weightless. This technical illustration of the glass sea shows a ship that appears graceful from above, but carries hidden ballast beneath the waterline. It is hauling a hold full of heavy stones, old weights it must constantly balance to maintain the illusion of being frictionless. If you feel a tight ache while masking your history and emotional weight to appear effortless, you are experiencing the bone-deep tiredness of performance. The remedy for this isn't necessarily more people. It is the permission to stop performing, let the hull of the boat touch the sand, and finally rest. When the ache lifts the moment you allow yourself to have weight, it reveals itself as the exhaustion of the sail. The second story follows a badger weeping in his snug, dark cave. His heart is racing because he feels completely trapped and entirely alone in the dark. An owl lands outside and simply pushes the cave door. It swings open easily. It was never locked. The badger simply assumed it was. This pillar visualizes lack of exit. The suffocating feeling stems from a loss of autonomy. Peace comes from knowing the door is unlatched. Looking beyond reveals a lack of world. You don't need a crowd, you just need a horizon. True relief in this case comes from the agency to walk away, or a window into a larger world that asks absolutely nothing of you. The third story is about a fox in an empty forest. He is alone, yet he is weeping from stress because he is wearing a heavy coat lined with hundreds of tiny silver mirrors. Those mirrors reflect an internal crowd. This silhouette shows a head filled with small talking figures, the internalized voices of past judges, critics, and parents, who evaluate every step the fox takes. If your solitude is filled with a prosecuting judge, you suffer from a hostile internal crowd. To quiet these voices, you must touch the physical world. As shown in the external connection pillar, holding a cold river stone provides sensory evidence to silence the monologue. The simple, honest reality of the physical world proves that the old emergency is over, dismissing the internal crowd's false warnings. Consider a goose living under an upturned boat. She has rested her sail. She knows her door is unlocked. Her internal crowd is quiet. She is in perfect order. Despite her healthy solitude, she still feels a persistent, heavy ache while sitting in the dark. This is the fourth case, actual loneliness. It remains even after the self-care is done. It does not lift when you rest, when you open the door, or when you touch a stone. This persistent feeling reflects the inherent nature of the human condition. It remains when every other internal need has been satisfied. This diagnostic system helps us identify when isolation is self-inflicted and when it is fundamental. It honors the weight of human connection by stripping away the secondary distractions. Actual loneliness is the ache that keeps you company. Its only real medicine is opening the door to let another animal into the room. By learning to identify the imposters, we stop applying the wrong remedies to our daily pain. We can finally see when we need to rest, when we need to step outside, and when the shape of our ache truly is another person.